It's starting to rain already. There's precipitation in the air anyway.
Okay, new Gemara. So the Mishnah said all kinds of klalim for when you're chayiv to when you're chayiv. You're not chayiv for hektish. How the Mishnah read? They are in order to be chayiv. Very terse Mishnah. Shein v'emihila, shein shel b'nei bris, nechasim ha'miuchadim. We had a couple of shatim on the nechasim ha'miuchadim. U'l'chol makom, chutz m'yishus ha'miuchadim l'mazik. And Rishus and Nizik Mazik. So these are the 2 points we're going to learn today. Which means the words mean that it belongs solely to the Mazik. Means if somehow the Nizik got into the Mazik's Rishus, the Mazik says, "What are you doing here?" So even if he got very damaged, but he walked in, how does it? It doesn't have to have a sign, beware of. It says every property, if it says it or not, it's no trespassing. So if somebody came in and then the owner's animal damaged him, so no taina. Yesterday, Yaakov told us a story that kid climbed up the steel from somebody, and he fell, and he got damaged. So really, the dinner would be that the mazik is part. He doesn't have to pay. He came tomorrow. He says, "What are you doing here?" That's what the Gemara says. My boy, because he can tell him, "What is your ox doing in my property? Torah is your shore. Peshusi in my property. My boy, what is he doing?" So in the Rishus of Mazik, he put on everything. The next case the Mishnah says is you should say yes. He's put right. He says Yechai b'chol makom except for Rishus and Mechedes l'Mazik. Yechai b'chol makom except for Rishus. I'm sorry, how does it go? Yechai in every place except for Rishus and Mechedes l'Mazik, and then Gemara explains because what are you doing in my property? So you put there.
So the case is not like court to change.
Right. Yeah. Right. Okay. What are you doing in my property?
Lucky they didn't go to a bezdin.
Oh, Rishus ha'nizik v'ha'mazik. The Mishnah says that also. Rishus ha'nizik v'ha'mazik, which the translation would mean that it belongs to both of them. It belongs both to the nizik and to the mazik. And now the question is how to read the Mishnah. We read it one way, but might as well see the Gemara already. Amrav Chizda, Amrav Imi. So he doesn't go on the Mishnah. He talks about a din. So we'll say his din. Amrav Chizda, Amrav Imi. Chatzur ha'shutfin. Chayba ala shein bala. He started off. Oh, he's going to go on the Mishnah. How can come out? But Chizda says Chatzur ha'shutfin is chayb shein bala. Means the words would mean that there's a property that belongs to 2 people, and he's allowed to bring in his. Maybe this is going to change. Maybe this is going to change later on. But just to start off, that Ruvain has rishus to bring in his shor, and Shimon has rishus to bring in his perus. And over there, the Ruvain shor ate up Shimon's perus. What did he say? So here it says that he's chayiv. A little akdama would be that Shein v'regel, we had a couple of times that Karen's chayiv b'shus harabim, and Shein v'regel is part of b'shus harabim. If, and actually, not take your ox to b'shus harabim, but if it damages your chayiv, you're allowed to bring your ox into b'shus harabim, and if it eats up somebody else's food, you put them. Even though he's allowed to put his food down, he's allowed a basket of food, but if shor comes in and eats it up, so he's put there. Here, we're talking about a chutzah shutfim. Also, the chorah, both of them have b'shus to be there. Here it says, so Rashi says, surely chayiv on Karen. Karen is surely chayiv. Means if you had a place where both of them had rishus to bring their ox, and one ox go with the other, so you're surely going to be chayiv. Because even in rishus harabim, where both of them are allowed to be, you're also chayiv. But shein v'regel, then in rishus harabim, you putter, that's going to be a sugya. How about it's not rishus harabim, but it's both of them, but belongs to both of them. He's allowed to bring his shor, he's allowed to bring his parents. So l'chor the Gemara says at this point, the Chitza says that he's chayiv. Now the Mishnah says a little different. The Mishnah said chutz. If you read this word here, chutz. Chutz v'rishus ha'mechedes l'mazik or rishus ha'nizik l'mazik. That's how you read the Mishnah. That's how the Mishnah says. It says after the word mazik, the word is inserted the pshat because why are you doing in my rishus? But yechayiv in any place, with the exception of a rishus which belongs only to the mazik, or if it belongs to both of them. So if you read the Mishnah, it says that you pater. It says that you pater on a chutz ha'shutfin. That's what the Mishnah seems to say. So Rav Chizda has to explain. Bava Kamma. The Mishnah doesn't mean the way we read it. Chutz mishus ha'mechedes l'mazik, the pater, or rishus ha'nizik v'ha'mazik, k'shesik ha'mazik. So you read it all together different than we read it. After these words, We have to go back a couple of pages. I guess we could. We're gonna, okay, it'll take time till we come back here. A couple of pages ago. What was that gonna be? That's on a Testament base. Whoever has a Gemara, right, might be faster to just look in your Gemara. But we're trying to get it on the screen also for everybody. What top is this? Okay.
That's the page number. I think that would do the whole page.
I think there's a screen maybe, I'm not sure. Okay, we can try. But here we are. But here, and maybe on the way back, we'll do the shortcut if it's possible. These are the words that we're reading over here. So there are two ways to read it. You can read it. It says here, Yechayev b'chol makom. Yechayev in any place, with the exception, chutz. One way to read it is like this. Chutz. If you read it like that, so it says that you're part of Rishus and Nezik Bamazik. It says Yechayev in every place, with the exception of two places, Rishus and Mazik, and also Rishus and Nezik Bamazik. If you put the period over here, this is going to be a question. You put the period over here, say, it says that Rishus and Nezik Bamazik is part of. That's what it says. That Yechayev in it.
Sort of like a Rishus Rabbi. For Shane and Regal.
That you'll be potter. But the Gemara is saying now, Rabbi Chisda is saying you don't read it like that. You put the period over here. First of all, we'll take the color away.
Period.
Right. You put the period over here. Period. Or Rishus HaNizik V'Mazik, Rishus HaV'Mazik. The Sham Tashlum is made. Then there'll be the sentence will read this one. Yeah. Rishus HaNizik V'Mazik, you have to pay. So before it said you have in every place besides Rishus HaNizik, period. But Rishus HaNizik V'Mazik, if it belongs to both of them, then you are chayiv. So that's why the little period makes all difference of how you read the Mishnah. If it says chayiv or pater. No. Okay. Even talk the proper. Sorry for.
Label on it.
Okay.
Base.
What do we need?
You give them.
Base.
Okay, here we are.
Okay. So that was the question how to read the Mishnah. The Gemara is in that both ways. So Rav Chisda says that Chatzor Shutfin is chayiv. And how do you read the Mishnah? Bava Kamma. Chutz Rishus HaMechedes L'Mazik, Pater. You put a period over there. And then Rishus HaNizik V'Mazik, Rishus HaMazik. So this is the first opinion. Rav Chisda says that Chatzor Shutfin is chayiv. Now goes Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Elazar says in this case it's going to be Pater. Rabbi Elazar says Pater. And how does he read the Mishnah? Bava Kamma. The way we read it originally. Chutz Rishus HaMechedes L'Mazik, Rishus HaNizik V'Mazik Nami Pater. That's where you put the period. And then the Mishnah says a new halacha. We'll put the period over there. And then the Mishnah continues, Rishus HaV'Mazik, new sentence. The Gemara is going to take a long time now to figure out why does, if it means according to Chisda, we understand. The Mishnah says, maybe I'll put that also in green, and that might help us as we go along. First way to read it was Rishis and Nizik Vamazik, Kishizik Havamazik. And Rabbi Loza says, Chosmi Rishis and Mechedes Lamazik, Rishis and Nizik Mazik is also Pater. So now the question is going to be, what are you going to do with the words Kishizik Havamazik? According to Rav Chisda, the words are saying that Rishis and Nizik Vamazik is Chayiv. That's how he learned the Mishnah. But according to Rabbi Loza, they made a period after the word that Rishis and Nizik Vamazik is Pater. So what do the words Kishizik Havamazik means? That's going to be a sugya that's going to go on for about 30, 20 lines. So this whole Gemara now is going according to Rabbi Loza. It's an extra word in the Mishnah that it says the mazik is chayv. Of course, mazik is chayv. We're saying that the whole time. So it says an extra time to tell you Karen, because even though the Mishnah said Abba Zikin, but it didn't say Karen. It said Shor Bo Ma Be'ever, and we had a focus about this in the beginning of the Masechta. And now the Gemara is saying, according to some opinions, it's going to be extra to tell you a mazik which we didn't mention yet. What is that, Karen? Because the Gemara would have said that Tana Shor Le Raglo, Ma V'Lashino, Shor only meant Regel, Ma meant Shane, and Karen wasn't mentioned. And the Gemara said that this Mishnah is going to say extra riboy to tell you Karen also. Shmuel said that Pshat that shore only means Regel. El Rav Dama Tana Shor V'Chamilu the shore. So it's not extra. Chava Mazik. That this question, according to Rabbi Loza now, that the Mishnah is extra, the words Chava Mazik need explanation. So that's the question. That doesn't you can't say Karen. Karen's already been mentioned already when the Mishnah said shore. Is it okay? Am I explaining it? Like, is it following? So these words of Kishezek Havamazik needs explanation according to Rabbi Loza. Kishezek Havamazik. Oh, it says that all it says that mazik is chayiv. And according to Rav Chisda, it's saying Kishezek Havamazik, Kishezek Havamazik. That mazik is chayiv to pay when it was in a Rishus HaShutfin. But so the sentence is taken care of. These words are taken care of. But according to the second way of reading it, these words are not taken care of. Kishezek Havamazik didn't say anything. It's a new sentence. So according to Shmuel, you could say that it's come to tell you Karen. But according to Rav, it said already shore, which includes Karen. Lasuye Mai, Lasuye Halatanu Rabbanan. And the Bryce is going to say, really, that Kishezek Havamazik is a new sentence. Like Rabbi Loza said, it's pretty much going to be a riot to Rabbi Loza. The Gemara doesn't make a deal out of it, but it is a riot to Rabbi Loza. The way you read the Mishnah, the period is before the word Kishezek Havamazik, and it's coming to tell you a riboy following Bryce. Kishezek Havamazik, Lavi, Shamachina Ba'ashor, No Sisocha Ba'asocher, Sheizika Behemta, Behema, Bishusan, Tam Shalom Chatzi Nezek, Mo Shalom Nezek Shalom. The Bryce says there's a new issue about Hashomer. We had already Hashomer's chayiv and damages. That means that Hashomer, when you give a Shomer to watch something, he has to watch it. If you didn't watch it, it's negligent. Each Shomer according to his halachas, and the Pikodon that he was watching got damaged, so he's chayiv to pay for it. That's a pasha of Shomer. It comes a different aspect about a Shomer. A Shomer was watching an animal, and the animal was mazik. Not that it got damaged; it was mazik something else. Who has to pay for the damages? So this is also a mission later on Rem Daled, and it says that the Shomer is responsible to watch that it shouldn't damage also. So that's what it seems to say, that the shomer is chayiv for the damages that it's that the animal damaged. A shomer chinam or a shomer, no sisocha v'asocha. These are the four kinds of shomer. That an animal was mazik b'shusan, tam v'shalom chatzi nezek, mud v'shalom nezek shalom. If it was a tam, it says four. Shomer chinam, shomer, no sisocha v'asocha. There are four kinds of shomer. And socher. The socher. These are the regular four shomrim, famous four shomrim. There are four kinds of shomrim in the Torah. It's not so relevant to us now, but it brings a shomrim. He could have said shomrim instead of saying socher means that he's renting it. Mostly socher means that he's getting paid to watch it. But it's not relevant to us. So let's talk about a shomer, right? This is the most focus about it. Is he like I think so focus about it. But it's not the subject over here. That the animal damaged. So Tom has to pay Chatzi Nezek and the board pays Nezek Shalom. The Gemara is not going to say that it's just so simple that the Shomer is chayiv to watch, that it shouldn't be mazik. that's a mission later on. It's going to be some extra chiddush over here. I think Gemara is going to explain the chiddush soon. The Brisa continues, if it wasn't his fault, because it broke open at night and it wasn't expected to, or robbers broke open and it got loose and it was able to mazik, so then the shomer is putter, or the balabais is putter, whoever's being putter over here is putter. Now, and that's the end of it. We can stop here if we want to, because we got shot in the machlokas of Chisda and Abelazar. The Gemara had to explain how is Abelazar going to read the next sentence. His main point is to say the sentence is over here. When it says Rishus Nizik Bamazik, it means that it's putter. Just Gemara bumped into a problem. If you stop over here, the next sentence doesn't make sense. It's just an extra word to say that a mazik is chayiv. So we have to find the pshat. So we found the pshat. Either it means Karen, according to Shmuel, and according to Rav, we'll say this brisa that has come to tell you that a shomer who's washing an animal and it was mazik, so that he has to pay. And that's enough for us, really. We could really go further to the next sugya, but we have this Amar, which was going to elaborate on this point until the next page, and then we'll get back to the sugya again. Okay, so we start. Amar. We're going to analyze this thing we just said, this brisa, the first white line, that Kishis Chavask is coming to say that a shomer who was watching it and it was the animal damage, that there's a chiyuv to pay. Amar. Kishis Chavask, Klavi Shomachinam, Bashoel, Nosesocha, Basocher. But we just said that a shomer, like that Jezika, the animal damage, so is chayiv. What is the brisa saying? Who's chayiv? What's chayiv? The Torah, the mashel, the Torah, the shoel. The word Torah in Aramaic means the shore. The tough is instead of the shin. Torah means with the aleph, not Torah. And the ox of the mashel. The mashel is the owner of the shore. He's the one who lent it, and he has all shomer over here. The one who gave the pikodah. So a shomer is washing somebody's shore. He's supposed to watch that it shouldn't get damaged, and it shouldn't damage. And the mice damaged his own animal. It's an interesting case. Ruvain is the watching the shore that it shouldn't get damaged and it shouldn't damage, and it damaged his own shore. If it says that, and then it says that he has to pay. Who has to pay?
The mashal that he lent out his.
The lender. There's a lender and a borrower, and then the borrower is the one who's watching it. He's the shomer, the borrower,
and the lender's animal.
This lender's animal, which is the animal that he's watching, it damaged the borrower's other animal.
That's right.
The borrowers.
The borrower has his own animals.
That's a good story.
I see.
Self-infliction.
Reuben lent Shimon an animal.
And Shimon has
some other
animal, right?
He
borrowed a cow. He also has a donkey, and borrowed cow damaged his donkey, and then he comes to the lender and says,
"You're." I see. It's not in Reuben. It's not some other Reuben's property. Reuben's. The one that he lent damages some other. I get it.
He's going to say you're not good enough for showman.
Okay,
I'm watching my cow.
That's called
that it shouldn't damage.
Yeah, you didn't watch him.
The asking Torah the mashal or Torah the shol. The Torah the mashal is the one that is the product, is the object that's being washed. That's the thing that he borrowed, and the damage the shomer's own ox. And then as if the shomer telling the balabais, you have to pay me. You know, your cow that I borrowed, it damaged my donkey. So what are you going to tell him?
Why weren't you watching?
If this cow that you borrowed, if it would have damaged somebody else, you have to pay because you're responsible for it shouldn't damage. And now, now that it damaged I have to pay you. You're supposed to be watching that it shouldn't damage. You're responsible, not me. So that can't be. Ella Daski Torah to show the Torah the Mashal the other way. That I guess keep the case that Shimon's borrowed a cow, and then his donkey, Shimon's donkey, damaged this borrowed cow. And what is it going to say? That he has to pay.
Yeah,
that we understand. We're happy with that. That he has to pay. The shomer's own animal damaged the picadon that's being washed. So far, we're happy that he has to pay. But the bigger has a cash on that also. Just a translation. If it would have gotten damaged from an outsider, so then you'd have to pay for the whole thing, for the whole ox, because you didn't do the shmir. You're responsible to watch that my ox shouldn't get damaged. My ox got damaged, for who to get damaged. It happened to be from you. But if it would have been from an outsider, you have to pay for the whole thing because you didn't want to do your job. And now Hashta the Haski to a Didach, and now that your ox is the one that damaged it, you're going to come and say it's only a tam. Palga the Niska, the Mashalmusli, you're only going to pay me Hatzi Nezek. Mr. Bryce says over here that this case of no Shomer Shoah, China Bashoel, it says Tam Mashal that he has a ptor of a tam that only pays Chatzi Nezek. But if the Shomer is supposed to watch that it shouldn't get damaged, he doesn't have a ptor of Chatzi Nezek. He has to watch.
That's the time.
His shore was a tam. I don't care I don't care who's mad damaged. You have to watch that it shouldn't get damaged.
Right.
So here he was the shomer that of the damaged shore, and his own shore damaged. And he comes and says, my shore is a tam." He tells him, "Your shore is a tam, but you're a shomer. You have two heads. You have a head of a mazik. You also have a head of being a shomer. So you have to pay me because you're the shomer and a kula nezik." So the more didn't find sense in the brisa yet. The brisa says that this case of a shomer that's watching some case that is a tam mishali. What's the case? If it's the mazik the borrowed ox is that's the shomer's job. And the other way, if the shomer damaged the borrowed ox, then he'd have to pay nezik shalom in any case.
Yeah. See.
The olam, one line up. The olam the askli told the mashal told the shoel, which is the first case that we said, the first case. And what was the time that the owner said? The owner said you're supposed to watch that it shouldn't damage anybody. Did I get it right?
Everyone wants to get paid.
Ask it Torah the Masha because for his ox, there's damaged ox. He said you should have watched that; it shouldn't damage. You're supposed to watch my ox that it shouldn't damage also, right? You took my ox, and besides using it, you're supposed to watch that it shouldn't get damaged and it shouldn't damage. And it damaged your own ox. And now you want me to pay you? You're supposed to watch that. You're supposed to watch that it shouldn't damage.
He's a shower, right? He's borrowing.
He's borrowing it, and he's responsible to watch it.
He's responsible. Yeah.
And now he's responsible to watch it also. It shouldn't damage.
Yeah.
Not only shouldn't get damaged, and it damaged. Who did it damage? It damaged you, yourself. That's not a reason that I should be high. You're supposed to watch that it shouldn't damage. The case is that that is the case that that the borrowed ox is the one that damaged the borrowers. It's a kind of a shomer that said, I'm only watching that it shouldn't get damaged. I'm not going to watch that it shouldn't damage others. That's our condition, right? They made a condition when they made up. They said, I'm not taking responsibility that it shouldn't damage. I'm taking responsibility that it shouldn't get damaged itself. So I'm not high, so I'm not responsible to watch that it shouldn't damage. It happened to be that it damaged me. So you have to pay. You have to pay me.
What are we trying to explain? Because I thought it said that the thing that we had in our mission was that he defied.
Yes, that's what it says. And this is the case. The case is going to be the shomer.
No, but he didn't take on that. He didn't.
No, so the balabais is high. The
So
shomer.
that's why the balabais is.
The balabais is high. The balashor, the owner. I'm borrowing your shore. And I said, I'm only borrowing it, and I'm going to watch that it shouldn't get damaged. I'm not going to watch that it shouldn't damage others. If it damages others, it's not my responsibility. It's your responsibility. And then it damaged my shore. So I come to you and I say, you should pay me. I borrowed your shore, and then it damaged my other animals, so you have to pay me.
And that's the case.
And that's the case. And that's supposed to be a chiddush. And Taisus asks, what's the chiddush? If I didn't accept to watch that it shouldn't damage, so you have to watch. So you have to. So Taisus says it's a chiddush because I might have thought that much. That it shouldn't damage others, I'm not taking responsibility, but that it shouldn't damage me, I'm going to come to you. You're such a nice guy. You're lending it to me. Now I'm going to come and charge you because your ox damaged me and I didn't accept that. That's a chiddush. You might, right? You might have thought that here, at least, Tyson says this point, that you might have thought that at least this much you're supposed to watch. I didn't accept to watch from outside mazik. That at least that it shouldn't damage mine. I'm supposed to take care that it shouldn't damage mine, and I can't come to you with kindness that your shore damaged mine. That you are high. So the Gemara found the pshat. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Hello. Hello. Ken. סליחה, לא יכול. תודה, תודה. סליחה, תודה, סליחה, לא יכול. תודה רבה. I'm sorry that I'm on call for all kinds of calls.
Your mother told me to send you. She gave me send my son regards.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, so far we're happy. I think we're happy so far. That we're on a tangent with us talking about what's the extra mission of Kishiza Kava Mazik. And we came out that the Chiddush was, like the Brisa says, that the Shoel borrow, the other Shomer, they borrowed a shore, and the Chayyim, but they didn't take responsibility that it should not damage others, and the Maisa damaged himself. So the owners of the shore has to pay him because it showed damage.
Sure, without any money, with no gain for the.
Okay, this says all the four Shomer. Yachiem b'Seifa. The Brisa continues. It says in the Brisa that if it broke out, it was onus, or robbers came and broke it open, and it was mazik, so then pater. That's okay because it was the owner. So you're not chayiv because it was not my fault. It wasn't the owner's fault. He didn't say the owner. But the dik is only at night. But if it will be in the daytime that you are responsible, you are chayiv. And it's much more over here that it went out to his mazik others. That's the kasha. You're saying the case was that the shomer did not accept upon himself to watch it. So he was saying that who's chayiv, the owner. Over here, it doesn't sound like that. Who's going to be chayiv over here? There's a dik over here that if it was honest, then he's pater. But if it would not be an honest, then it would be chayiv. Who's chayiv? It's mashma l'shomer for some reason. Why don't we say that it means the owner? And the owner, so that the owner would be chayiv. So the owner would be chayiv, but that would be pshita. The fact that the owner is chayiv, if the shomer didn't accept to watch that, it shouldn't be mazik.
If it's a b'layla, it wouldn't be potter.
If it's a b'layla, it's potter. No?
A shomer is potter, but the bala shore.
It was the owner's. He's not. Why? If it's a b'layla means it wasn't anybody's fault. It wasn't the
mission in Hakonis, right?
No, but there's also potter. That even your own shore that gets broken out, you potter. So the fact that the mazik, that the owner would be chayiv, if it was not an owner's, that's pashut. That's the case. The regular shore that's being watched, and the shomer is not chayiv to watch that, shouldn't be mazik. So the responsibility is still on the mazik, on the owner. If it was mazik, for sure is chayiv.
So it says Yom Chayiv. Who's chayiv?
Who's chayiv?
The owner.
So what are the choices? The owner or the shomer?
I thought it was the shomer.
So, but there's more things like you, and then the more it says. But you're saying the case is that it was not chayiv. He didn't take upon the responsibility to watch. That shouldn't be mazik. So it doesn't read. If you say that it's going back on the owner, that would have been a pshat. That the owner is chayiv because he's the one who remains with him the responsibility to watch that it shouldn't be mazik, and it wasn't the owner's. But the more doesn't seem that as a choice, probably because that wouldn't be.
It says before. What do we learn then?
That the owner has to pay. If it was mazik, then the shomer.
Oh,
and like they said, there's a chiddush over there.
Who would lend somebody a thing if he's not responsible to if it's a damage?
That it's going to damage others.
Yeah,
it could be that. Well, then the shomer.
Now you want me to still pay for its damage? I'm lending in my account.
Yeah, there is an aspect of chiddush over there. There is an aspect of chiddush, but the reason, for whatever reason, the shomer didn't want to take responsibility for its damages. It's difficult to watch it. I can't do it. I can only watch that. It shouldn't get damaged. I can't be responsible for for it damaging others. It's true. It came out an interesting scenario that it damaged the shomer himself. Then the shomer comes and says, "Pay me," and he has to pay him because that was the upmark.
Yeah.
Is this guy in chutzif? Would you tell him? Would you take him for your son-in-law if he
that goes back to the big question that is there a derech eretz besides the halacha? That was a general question. We have other questions. It's nice to put it on the list of examples that the Torah says something is pater, and someone's going to say I'm pater. We'll say you're not a mensch. That's the general.
Here it's more. It's even more that you lent me a shar. And now I'm complaining that it damaged me.
The halacha is this.
No, I'm just curious. I want to know. You say it's pashut.
I'm not going to lend it to him again. I'm not going to lend him anything again.
It's pater. The halacha is that it's pater.
The owner has to pay the shomer. Okay, I think it's could be a lot of examples. Talk about it in the kola. They brought up a lot of examples, and there was a lot of noise. If it's someone could say that you have to be a mensch. Tone, yeah. Okay. But it's a subject. We could bring examples and talk about it. Bor is putter on Caitlin. So and it was definitely the fault of the bor. Putter on Caitlin. Somebody fell into the bor, he broke his watch. And the Baal Bor says I'm putter. Would you take it?
I will have an question.
Yeah. Okay, general question on many halachas. So
So over here, the beginning of the price, we learned that it's going on
that the owner has to pay the shomer.
How are we doing the hemshech now? No, it's not. Yes, it would.
And then if it was the onus, he doesn't have to. But Yotzav Ezika. The Yotzav Ezika doesn't sound like responsible the shomer. It says it went out, and there's masik others. So who are the choices? Either that the owner is going to be potter, and if it was not an onus, then he's chayiv. And the Gemara sees that it's going on the shomer, that it's going on the owner. The Gemara probably says that would be pashat, that the owner would be chayiv. If it was mazik others, that's the whole case. The case was that he didn't accept. The shomer didn't accept to watch that it shouldn't be mazik. It's the responsibility of the owner. That would be pashat. Elawat, the shomer is chayiv, but the Gemara says that you said a second ago that the shomer cases the shomer was not accepted on himself to be that it shouldn't be mazik others. Bava Kamma in Kibbutz Olav Shmiras Nezakav chayiv. You have to stick in some words in order to add it to brisa that if the shomer did accept upon himself to watch that it shouldn't be mazik, then the shomer is going to be chayiv.
On his own damage.
The damage is
to
that
the
it damaged others. But if it was an honest, if it's a balai loship, so listen, if it was an honest that it got let loose, then the shomer will be potter. So that was one parentheses to figure out those words. Kishizik mazik that is a new sentence. What was the new sentence? But we can put that all on the side, like we did. We put in parentheses, and back to the Mishnah. There were two ways to read the Mishnah. When it says Shusanizik mazik, how do you read it? Do you read it that it's that it's an exception that you're not chayiv? Mazik is not chayiv, or do you read it the other way that I'm sorry, I'm reading it wrong. All right, I'm sorry, I just read what's in front of me. I read wrong. The Rebbe Elazar is the one who read it like that. Rebbe Elazar read the way it's in the yellow. That's how Rebbe Elazar reads it the way we learned them initially. That Chutz Mishus and Mechedes Lemnesik and Rishus and Nizik Vamazik, both of them are potter. And Rav Chisda read it differently. Rav Chisda made a big stop. He made a short stop. He said Chutz Mishus and Mechedes Lemnesik, period. And then Mishus and Nizik Vamazik is chayiv. So in short, if we take the whole thing and just condense it into one sentence, there's a machlokes about Chatzar Hashutvin. If you have a Chatzar that belongs both to the Mazik and to the Nizik, and it did change a regular over there. He had his apples and he had his shore and he ate it up. He's a chayiv potter. If Chisda said chayiv, when the sim is going to be ches ches or Chisda chayiv, that's my own sim. Just remember for myself. And Rabbi Elazar says potter. So far, that's machlokes. Everything else was like side issues, how to be the Mishnah. But that's the main machlokes was if a shor shutfin, if a chatzar shutfin is chayiv or potter. If Chisda said chayiv, Rabbi Elazar said potter.
Oh, there are shutfins.
The chatzar shutfin. Both of them allowed to use it. The mazik and the nizik, both of them allowed to use it. And he had his shore and he had his Paris, and the shore ate up the Paris. And Bala Paris comes and says, your shore ate up my Paris. So if Chisda will say that he has to pay, and if Elazar will say he doesn't have to pay. And the question is how to read the Mishnah. The Mishnah was coming to tell us this din about Rishus and Nizik and Mazik, but the printer didn't put in the punctuation, so we don't know how to read it. Do you read it that you potter, Rishus and Mazik, Rishus and Nizik and Mazik, you potter, or do you read it Rishus and Nizik and Mazik, Rishus and Mazik? So what does the Mishnah say? The Mishnah tells us the din of the Chatzar Shutfin, and we don't know how to read it. There's a chayiv potter. Focus of Chisda and Elazar.
And we're not getting complicated saying that like the patch of payros is just for me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but right there, but he's allowed to come into the courtyard. There's no fence over there. There was no fence. He's allowed to come in, and he has Rishus to be.
The patch of payros is like a Shusi
Right. That's what's being said. If you say that as potter, it means that I'm allowed to bring my oxen, and the ox eats things when it sees it, and you're allowed to come in. You're allowed to put your payros here, but watch out for my ox. And the other one says, you watch your ox that it shouldn't be mazik my payros. In Rishus Rabbim, that's give like a basic that Rishus both are allowed to be there, but if he eats his potter, Shem regular potter in Rishus Rabbim.
It's not like he planted a little garden.
It does make a difference.
It doesn't make a difference.
It does make a difference. It could be a basket of Paris, or it could be a planting. No difference. If he has the maskas, Rishus to be there also. So that's the machlokes if he's chayiv potter. Not a Gemara is going to start bringing rice. Any Vatani of Yosef, Chatzah Shutfim. We'll try to bring a right from here. What do we have?
Chatzar Shutfin.
Vapundik. Chayiv Behen Al Hashem Bala Regel. A brisa that says Chatzah Shutfim is Chayiv. That sounds like Rav Chisda, right? Is that true? Should be in the green. Same as Rav Chisda. Rav Chisda said Chatzah Shutfim. And also a pundik. A pundik is an inn, which also everybody has wishes to be over there. It says Chayiv Al Hashem Bala Regel. That's a kasha on Rabbi Loza. The brisa is tifta Rabbi Loza because Rabbi Loza said you put there. It's like Rav Chisda. The Chatzah Shutfim means that the Chorah means that the Shor is supposed to be there, and the Bala Peres is supposed to be there, and it says that the Bala Shor is Chayiv for eating up. Rabbi Loza says, I can bring a brisa. I also have a brisa. You have a brisa. I have another brisa. Well, Tanya, I learned in a brisa. Arba klolos hayy Reb Shimon ben Elazar Omer ben Nezakin. Reb Shimon ben Elazar said 4 categories about Nezakin, and we'll try to highlight them. And maybe let's use just to make it easier. Maybe just a pen over here. The first one is culture. The nizik with all the mazik. That's the first category. That it's the nizik's property and the mazik has no right to be there. The nizik's own private property. So the lochov chayv bakol, chayv everything. The next case is the mazik below the nizik. It belongs only to the mazik. But the mikol. Why are you doing marishus? Also good. Lazeh v'lazeh. Kigon chotzah shutfim. If it belongs to both of them, which is mamazah subject, and it even says chotzah shutfim to make it even easier. La bika. That's an example of also a place where everyone's allowed to go. La bika means a field. A place where there are a lot of fields, everyone's allowed to go there. You're allowed to bring your apples. You're allowed to bring your shvarim. Pater ba'al Hashem ba'al regel. That's a comma over there. You pater for Shen regel because like it was just about him, that you're allowed to bring your animals, he's allowed to bring his food, and Shen regel is pater. But chayav and keren, Allah nagicha, Allah nagifa, Allah nashicha, Allah revitza, Allah bita, all kinds of keren, goring, pushing, biting, lying down, and with contention of them and kicking. Over here, tam mishal chasi nezek, wood mishal nezek shalom, like a regular case of keren that is half payment the first 3 times, and afterwards is chayav nezek shalom. That's what we're looking for, right? We got what we're looking for. Here it says we should even put this in color because that was a belazer before. That said posca, and he says I have a price like me also. Chatzah shutfim. Yeah.
Right, for Shane and for Kevin.
Yes. I can't remember what it was discussing.
Okay.
But yeah, that's true. So he says, I have a brisa. You have a brisa? I have a brisa. We didn't finish the last category. Just to finish off. L'chora means l'chora the person shall be a third party. That is Levi. Ruvain is not allowed to bring his ox there, and Shimon's not allowed to bring his pears there, and they both decided to leave it there, and then he ate up the ox ate up the food. So it says here, that's what it says. Belongs to a third party. Like it was just a yachid.
Because it is.
Even though I'm
Oh,
not
even
allowed to
though
be
it's
there
not?
either. I'm not allowed to be there either, but you're also not allowed to be there for some reason.
Okay.
That even then the Nizik says you got to pay because I ate all my food. He says, "What are you doing this?" He says, "What are you doing there?"
Okay.
So and but Karen, Allah nagicha, Allah nashicha, Allah nagifa, Allah revitza, Allah bita, tam b'shalom chasi nezek, mud b'shalom nezek shalom. Also, it's like Karen,
Chayav bakol.
chayiv bakol. But here, so it is interesting. Like Morris going to talk about it. That it doesn't say like chayiv bakol like it says in the first category.
Yeah, why not?
And why not? Here it says that it's chayiv for. It says it's chayiv shen regular, and it's chayiv keren. When it says chayiv keren, it says chatzin nezek for the first 3 times. So it's a nice kasha. How Lev Yaakov is asking it. It should have just said chayiv bakol instead of saying 3 lines over here to get the idea that you chayiv and shen regular and keren. It should have said chayiv bakol. Then we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
But right now we're just interested in the third case. We have if it's rishus lenizik, rishus lemazik, rishus for both, rishus for none. So the third case is what we're talking about. That it's a shutfin, and here it says potter. So unless it says you have a price that says like a chista chayiv, I have a brisa that says potter. The time he asked, in any case, we learned in the third case, Chasa should turn a bigger potter bala shein.
Well,
Maybe do it out the screen in the meantime.
It usually takes 3 seconds.
Oh, okay.
But now it's taking more.
Oh, that.
So at this point, the Chavi Rabbi Lezer will be happy. Rabbi Lezer says, I have a brisa. You have a brisa, I have a brisa. But the Gemara wants to take over and try to reconcile the brises. So we have Machlokes of Chis Rabbi Lezer. We also have 2 brises that seem to be the same Machlokes. And now the Gemara is going to try to reconcile the brises. Kasha Adadi, the 2 brises seem to contradict. The Gemara says we can reconcile the brises. Kitanya Ahi, Pachotze Mechedes Lazeh V'Lazeh, Bein Leperos, Bein Leshforim. Ahi, the Rav Yosef, Pachotze Mechedes Leperos, Bein Mechedes Leshforim. The Lagabi Shein, Never Lachotze Anizik. There are 2 brises. So let's first take the second brise. The brise says that you potter. Chotze Shutfim Potter Bala Shein Bala Regel. So it seems to say potter. So the Gemara says this. We could say that this brise is talking about that it's a Chotze Shutfim for everything. Everyone has a right to bring in Paris. Everyone has a right to bring in Shvarim. And that's why you potter. It's considered like a Rosh Hashanah. Everyone's allowed to bring everything in. The case that Yosef said about a brise that it said Chotze Shutfim is Chayev, we could say that it doesn't contradict. It's talking about that you only have a right to bring Paris. You don't have a right to bring in Shvarim. Means that it's Shutfim, but Shutfim for what? Not that you can do whatever you want. It's a Chasa Shutfim that you're allowed to bring in Paris, but you can't bring in your rocks. Like Arusha said, that's very normal to have such a thing that when you come into a hotel, you can't do whatever you want. You're allowed to come in with normal things, but you can't bring in your animals. You can't bring your shore in. You say,
Can't bring a dog with stomach.
can't bring a dog. Well, yeah. So this case that says that it's considered Yochayev is because you don't have a shus to bring in the animal. So even though the Brisa seems to say Chotze Shutfim is Chayev, we could say that it's only Chayev because you weren't allowed to bring in your shore. And why is it called Shutfim? Because you're allowed to bring in your apples also. Both of them can bring in their apples. But since he can't bring in the shore, so it's Chayev if he ate. So we reconcile the 2 Brises.
I didn't see where it said Chayev.
In the green.
Where did it refer to it? Where did the kasha?
Chotze Shutfim and a pundik. Not a
No,
case.
where after the 4th case, where did we see a kasha?
Oh, the one that said, really, it said Kasha Adadi.
It didn't state, right?
Rabbi Elazar brought this as in order to protect himself. Rabbi Elazar said, you bring the more I said, you have to Rabbi Elazar, the more I attacked Rabbi Elazar, that you say Chotze Shutfim is potter. This Bryce says Chayev, Kasha on you. So he said, don't know, I have a Bryce also. So he brought this on a defense. He didn't bring it as an offense. He brought it that I have a Bryce also.
And now we're saying lo kasha.
And now we're saying lo kasha in order to
kasha,
reconcile everybody. And we say, now we're going to get confused. What were they talking about? Rabbi Elazar, Rav Chisda, which case were they talking about? So far, we assumed everyone's allowed to bring everything, and that was how we're talking. Now, the more says that the case could be called Shutfim, but you're not allowed to bring in the shore, and that's why you might be fine. The Gemara also wants to support this difference to say that the Bryce is talking about 2 different kinds of Shutfis. One is being allowed to bring in the ox, one is being not allowed to bring in the ox. The Tani Hacha, do me the pundik. The Tani Yasam, do me the bika. So in each case, it says Chotze Shutfim. Here it says Chotze Shutfim. But it also gives another example on a pundik. And here, this Bryce also said Chotze Shutfim, but I gave another example of a bika. And a pundik.
A bika means a pundik.
A pundik. So a pundik is a place like an inn.
Where you can bring in certain things, but not everything.
Right. And Rashi says like it's a place where people come to stay. They don't want oxen walking around in the chutzah over there because everyone brings their schora and they leave it over there. And they don't want oxen walking around. But the bika is not an open place with fields, and over there you're allowed to bring everything. So that would support this pshat that Chotze Shutfim that you're allowed to bring everything you put there. And Chotze Shutfim that you're only allowed to bring the food, Yichayim.
But that would be a kasha with Chisda, right?
So the question is right. But the question is, what does Rav Chisda mean? What did Rav Chisda, what did he talk about? That's going to be the Gemara in a couple of lines. When Rav Chisda said that the Chotze Shutfim is Chayev, was he talking about where you're not allowed to bring the shore? Or he meant even if you're allowed to bring the shore, also you're going to be Chayev. So the Gemara continues, Maskef Law Rav Zera. What did the Gemara say? That in this first case, Yechai, what's the case? That one's allowed to bring in Paris, but you're not allowed to bring in your shore. So we were very happy. You're not allowed to bring in your shore. You're allowed to bring in Paris. Very nice. You have a hotel, Chatzah, and everyone's allowed to bring in Paris. And one guy brought in the shore, so he's be high because you're not allowed to bring. What's the shore doing over here? You're not allowed to bring. But the observer has a problem that he thinks he shouldn't be high, even though the mazik is not allowed to bring in the shore. Since he's allowed to bring in his apples, he should be put there even if a shore eats up somebody else's apples. Why? So I don't understand it. But the Gemara says, it says in the pasuk, that the chiv is only when you eat up, you send the animal to eat up somebody else's field. What does it mean, somebody else's field? The one that it's only his field. If you're allowed to be there also, it's not steyacher. It's true, I'm not allowed to bring in my ox, but how could you call it steyacher? Somebody else's field. It's my field also. I'm also allowed to bring in my. So if Zera holds, they should be put there, even if you did not have rishus to bring in your ox. If you had rishus to bring in other things, the mazik has rishus to bring in other things. So it's not called steyacher. You can't call it because without his farm. I would like to think that is as far. That Dina Mominus, I would like to think that it's something that we can understand. Usually, I mean, sometimes there are halachas that we don't understand.
In
I would like to think so.
In general, most
Maybe I'm
there
wrong.
is a concept work out, but sometimes
It means to work out.
which you got off on.
No, technicality means that in this particular case, but the halacha that's the yacha means it has to be only for the nizik, and if the mazik has just to be there for other things. Okay, if you say there's no, we don't have to look for a svara, then it makes it easier. But I don't know a svara. So that was Observer's kasha, that even if you don't have rishus to bring in your ox, since you have rishus to bring in your food, so then you should be put there if you're mazik because it's not called steyacha. Amal le Abaye, so Abaye said the way we thought. If you're not allowed to bring in your ox, that's called steyacha. As far as he has his fruit, he feels safe over there, brings in his fruit. You're not allowed to bring your ox. Bring in your food also, but don't bring in your ox. So that is called steyacha.
Steyacher could mean it wasn't meant for oxen.
Literally, it means the field of another. It means it's another man's.
So it's a drush.
The idea. What are you saying?
Steyacher, it wasn't for oxen, it was for Peros.
Right, so that's not the pshat. Right, you're saying Yimaskim is not the pshat. Over there, it's talking about he took his ox into somebody else's field. That's the word, the words. Not a field, the words mean for somebody else's field. Right. So even though observer asked that the word steyacher means it has to be dafka somebody else. If you're allowed to use it, it's not steyacher. And Abai says it doesn't have to mean that. It means steyacher as far as this issue of the ox coming in. That you're not allowed to bring your ox in. It's somebody else's field as far as the oxen. Okay, so we're happy. I think more or less we're happy that we had the machlokas of Chisda and Abelazar. We had a brisa of each one. And then the Gemara said you can reconcile both of them without making a machlokas between the two brises. If he has rishus to bring in his ox, he's potter. If he doesn't have rishus to bring in his ox, he's chayav. Amalei Rav Acha midifti leRavina. Lema mevedamasnisa lo pligi. Amaroi nama lo pligi. Maybe we got the whole thing wrong. Maybe there's no machlokas. We had two brises, then we reconciled them. So we have two Amaroi. Maybe reconcile them also. We started off with Rav Chisda and Abelazar about Chatzah Shulchan. Maybe they're also talking about two different cases. Maybe Rav Chisda says Chayav is talking about that you're not allowed to bring in your ox. And Abelazar says you're potter. He said you're allowed to bring in your ox. Why make a machlokas if you could reconcile them around also? Amalei in, you're right. No machlokas. So we go back. Rav Chisda that said Chayav is only if you're not allowed to bring in your ox. But if you're allowed to, we also give Abelazar, no machlokas. The im tim saloma pligi. If you do want to say that they're arguing, they'll be arguing about Abzera's question and Abayi's answer. Piruka means an answer. Means this was a question a second ago. Here was Abzera, Maskavlar Abzera, and here was Abaye, Amalei Abaye. Abzera asked that even if you have no rishus to put an ox, there's still reason why you should be potter. Even if you have no rishus to bring in an ox, you still should be potter because you can't call it steyacher. It wasn't designated for the nizik alone. And Abaye said, no, that's good enough. That's called steyacher. So if you want to make a machlokas, that's going to be the machlokas case. What are we saying? If you're allowed to bring an ox, I think we can sum it up now. If you're allowed to bring the ox, he's surely potter. Am I saying right?
Even Rav Chisda.
Everybody, right. Started off the discussion. The whole guy said that Lapasha says everyone's allowed to do everything. You can do whatever you want. Now the Gemara, the end of the sugya seems to be that if you're allowed to bring in the ox, there's no question that you're potter. The question is if you're not allowed to bring in your ox. There's room for machlokas over there. That the Pasha says that since you're not allowed to bring your rocks, so you should be chayiv, and that's what Rav Chisda might have meant. Or you'd be potter because it's not called stay acher, but not called stay acher. How does the Gemara go? That could be the sum of focus, and Rav Chisda is talking about the case where you're not allowed to bring your rocks. Abelaz is going where you are allowed to bring your rocks, or you could say Abelaz is even talking about that you are not allowed to bring your rocks, and it's still potter. So I think that much we can remember, that if you're allowed to bring your rocks, there's no question that you're potter. If you're not allowed to, then there might be a machlokes. The Pasha says if you're allowed to bring your rocks, then you're not allowed to bring your rocks, then you're chayav. But there is a tzad to say Rav Chisda will hold that you're chayav. I got it right? I got it wrong.
There's a tzad to say that a blozer will hold you potter even if you're
The two questions are not Abelaz. Right. And if you're not allowed to bring your rocks, you're chayav. It could be Abelaz holds you potter even if you are not allowed to bring your rocks, because it's not called stay acher maybe. Okay, now we go into a parentheses because we brought in the brisa, this brisa that Javirsi brought in, the Abelaz brought in, the four klolos of it, the four klolim, the four categories. Rishus HaNizik, Rishus HaMazik, both, none. And just to point out the Leviacha's question, how come it doesn't say sure? The Jew said the fourth case is the Chayiv Bakol. So let's see. Kufa, Abu Klolos Hayir B'Shem B'Alaz Omer Ben Azakin, Kol Shu Rishus HaNizik Lo Mazik, Chayiv Bakol. The first word, the first category. And the Gemara's Medayik, Allah Kol Lo Katani, Allah Chayiv Bakol. It doesn't, the more makes it sound like it's like the word. It should have said Chayiv Allah Kol, it's Chayiv for everything. Karen, Shane, Regel. It doesn't say that, it says Chayiv Bakol. Which means Bekulei Nezek. Yechayiv Nezek Shalim. So that already answers Levi Yaakov's question.
What was the cooling? Is it?
The whole Nezek Shalim. The complete all damages, not half damages. Means in the fourth case when I said Chayiv, it said Sheni Regel is Chayiv, and Karen, the Tam pays Chatzin Nezek and Mur pays Nezek Shalim. We want to say now that when it says Yechayiv Bakol, these words Chayiv Bakol, it doesn't mean Yechayiv for Karen Sheni Regel. It means Yechayiv Nezek Shalim. That means that even Karen is going to be Chayiv Nezek Shalim, even though it's a Tam. Usually a Tam gets a discount. It only has to pay Chatzin Nezek. Here it says that if you came to the Rishus and Nezek, you have to pay everything.
Why would you, if it said Al HaKol, why would you think you'd pay Chatzin Nezek?
Because it wouldn't mean anything. It just means Yechayiv for Karen Sheni Regel. Yechayiv for Sheni Regel, Yechayiv for Karen. It doesn't say that Yechayiv everything, like a regular Karen. But the word Yechayiv Bakol lends itself to mean Yechayiv everything. Yechayiv the whole payment.
No matter what.
I would point out that you said that not only because of the word Bakol, but because of the difference between the last case. The last case it says 4 lines, and here it says 2 words.
Yeah.
Here, when I wanted to say the last case, it said that Shen Regel is Chayiv, and Karen, all these Nashichan, all these cases, a Tam pays Chatzin Nezek, a Mud pays Nezek Shalim. Why doesn't it just say Chayiv Bakol? So the difference in terminology between the first and the third and the fourth case seem to lend itself to the Gemara's diak that here it's
Tom is no different.
that here there is no difference. And now we know what's that all about. Why should the Tam pay Nezek Shalim just because it's the Chazar? The truth is, it's a mission later on that there's this form of focus of Tafel and Rabbanan. If Mazik, if a Karen in Chazar and Nizik pays Nezek Shalim, the regular then it pays Chatzin Nezek, maybe it's only Rishus HaRabim. Like we said, that the Karen is Chayiv in Rishus HaRabim. But then he's the Chatzin Nezek. When he went such a chutzpah, he went into the Chazar and Nizik, and Tafel says he pays Nezek Shalim. That's going to be a sugar later on, and the Gemara is bringing it in here. If that's down in our brisa, when it says the word Chayiv Bakol, where's that word over here? Mani of Tafani. According to this reading, if the word Bakol, Chayiv Bakol, this word over here, we say Chayiv Bakol means it has to pay Nezek Shalim. It doesn't say Alakol, it says Bakol. Nezek. If so, the Mishnah, this is a Tafan talking, holds that in the Chazar Nezek you have to pay Nezek Shalim. So it's very nice. That's why he says there are 4 klolim. The first case is Chazar Nezek, you pay Nezek Shalim. And then if it belongs to the Mazik, you put there everything. And if it's both of them, he said, Mizbaisa, that you are Potter. Chazar should finish Potter. Potter on Shein for Regel, Chayiv on Karen, but it's a Rishus HaRabim like. In the last case, that it belongs to neither, which we didn't talk about yet, then it's going to be also that only Chatzin Nezek for Karen. So we have a pshat in the brisa. The reason why it says Bakol. But now the kasha is Amos Sefer. Continue reading. Is the author of our brisa Rabbi Tarfon? The truth is, it sounds very good. The first case is Chatzar Nezek. Over there, he says Nezek Shalim. Yeah, nice. All the rest of the cases are not going to be Chatzar Nezek. What does it say in the Sefer? Lo lezeh v'lo lezeh. Ki gon chas shein shel shneim. Chayiv ba'al shein ba'al regel. It says if it doesn't belong to either one of them, like I can explain. What does that mean? Chas it doesn't belong to it doesn't belong to both of them. So it's chayiv shein v'regel. Now, how did we learn that? We learned that it belongs to a third party. That was the Levi over there. And it made a lot of sense. We thought it made a lot of sense. But the Gemara says, no, it doesn't make sense. My lo lezeh, the lo lezeh. What's the case that not belonging to either one of them? It doesn't belong to any one of them. It belongs to a third party. The person says, in somebody else's field. And somebody else's field means the one that you damaged. He went into somebody else's field and he ate. Somebody else's field means the one that he ate. The Gemara holds for Deva Pashat that you're not chayiv. If Reuven ate Shimon's things in Levi's field, and Shimon didn't have Rishus to be there, both the Mazik and the Nizik put their things in Shalom Rishus, then for sure you're not going to be chayiv. We didn't think so.
We're saying that we would think that it's not because there's no it's not Sadeh.
Since it's not Sadeh, so you're not going to be chayiv. This last case that we read,
I damaged Shimon's things and it wasn't his field.
Right. He wasn't allowed to be there. And he says, but you weren't allowed to be there either. But so we said, okay, the Bryce says that you're chayiv. But the Gemara says, no, it can't be. For sure you put them. I've written down that the Rishalmi has a machlokas about this, but the Bavli holds that he's surely put them. And that goes further. It can't be. It can't be that you're going to be chayiv, Reuven ate Shimon's things in Levi's field. Neither of them were allowed to be there. So then he's put them.
I'm saying that can't be.
It cannot be, right? When you read this.
That can't be low.
Lo lezeh v'lo lezeh, ki gon chesed she'en shel shneim. It doesn't mean that it belongs to a third party, because it wouldn't be chayiv. Chayiv al shen v'regel can be.
Okay.
Because it is, the Gemara is going to say a dochak pshat in these words, and now we're going to continue. Ela pshita, lo lezeh v'lo lezeh, ela dechad. All it means to say that doesn't belong to both of them. We learned that it means it doesn't belong to any of them. We learned that lo lezeh v'lo lezeh. How does it go? We learned that it means that it doesn't belong to any one of them. The Gemara says it means it doesn't belong to both of them.
It belongs to one.
It belongs to one of them. And what is that? We have that already. We have chatzah and this chatzah mazik. Chatzah doesn't tell it. Really, dochak, l'chor, very dochak. And the Gemara is putting it in, sticking it in. The Gemara is not giving up. That it means the Gemara is not going to give up. The Gemara
is making this. It's like the dochak yesh lahakshos. We
yeah.
have a kash
We have a kash.
We were happy.
We were happy because we thought that you can be chayiv in Levi, but the Gemara takes the pasuk. You can be chayiv in Levi's rishus, and therefore it can't be that.
Because of that, there's going to be a kash.
Yeah, and big kash, and it's not going to read. And it says there are 4 klalim. It says chatzah nizik, chatzah mazik, chatzah of both, chatzah of neither. And we're going to say no. Neither means.
Neither. It's not both of them.
And whose is it?
One of them.
Which one?
Either way, we already said it.
Right. Either way, I said. But now we get out. Let's get further now. It can't be the mazik. You can't say it. Can't be the mazik because show you pata. And here it says that you chayiv. So what's that? Nizik, which goes back to klal number 1. Nizik, mazik, both. Nizik.
Yeah. What's the word you need?
And the Gemara is not bothered by that.
Not only why do you need it, the Gemara is bothered that it's a
now it's a contradiction because before you said chayiv bakol, that you chayiv nizik shalom according to Raptafin, and now you're saying that it's the same case over again, and now the halacha is that it's only going to be chatzi nezik, not like Raptafin. That's all that's bothering the Gemara. The Gemara doesn't bother that it should be the same case over again, just that the psak is different. And if it would have been the same psak, the Gemara would have been happy. Also, and it says there are 4 cases. Very docha. But the Gemara is sticking to this. And the kasha is, you're going to say that the 4th case is the Rabbanan speaking, that in Karen. The word Mishuna just means Karen. Mishuna means not doing it the regular way. Karen means abnormal. Abnormal Karen, which every Karen is abnormal. That's why it's called Karen, because it's not normal. So in the beginning, the Masechta spoke about Kavanas al-Hazik, but it seemed to say they're going to be right.
That's covered here. It was like brought out as it's other Shabbat, but all along it's just that's being mature. Doesn't have to be kind of Hazik to be
Right. Unless we didn't have it too much, we didn't get to it yet. And the Gemara over there was talking about the chumrah. So it was looking for a chumrah. So it could be Mishun is not a chumrah. Kavanas al-Hazik is a chumrah. But it did sound like every Karen is Kavanas al-Hazik. What we're going to see later on, we'll get the Karens that are not Kavanas al-Hazik. As long as it's Mishuna, that's called Karen. And it's interesting. The Gemara did use Kavanas al-Hazik. But I think that the halacha comes out that the Agdara of Karen is Mishuna. So what's the problem? Ratio of Taf Sefer Rabbanan? It's not how you're going to read it. You're going to say that the same case and 2 different opinions in the same brisa. And the Gemara says, yes, in Talmudei Shmuel Rabbi Yehuda, Shenina, Shok Masnisen V'Tav Basroy, Besha V'Tafna, Sefer Rabbanan, no problem. So they're talking about different Mishnah, it seems, but I think a different Mishnah, it's not going on our Mishnah, on our prices over here, but the Shmuel told you the Shinana, which they say means, Rashi always says that means the sharp one, and the others say that it means the one with the big teeth, and they have like a nickname for Rav Yehuda. Forget about the Mishnah and come with me, don't be bothered, I'll explain it to you. The ratio of Taf and Sefer Rabbanan, there's no problem. He likes to do that. You can do that. Say also that's what you should do and don't have any problems. And we have a big problem. That is the only 3 cases. Tomorrow is no problem. He says I could explain it. I could explain that whole thing is Reb Tarfon, and the last case is also Reb Tarfon. My lo lazeh v'lo lazeh, lo lazeh v'lo lazeh lepeirus, ela dechad, lazeh v'lo lazeh l'shvarim. The Gemara is making a unique kind of shutfus. It says it doesn't belong to both of them. Who does it belong to? The first case belongs to the Nizik only. The fourth case is that it doesn't belong to both of them completely, but it does belong to both of them for some cases. Only one. It means the only Nizik is allowed to bring the Paris, and both of them can bring the Shvarim. So what would we say? A simple mind would say that if you're allowed to bring in your shore, so you are putter. That's how we started off right away. Right? I said that's what we made the clone a second ago. We summarized everything we learned. We say if you're allowed to bring in your shore, you're putter. If you're not allowed to bring in the shore, then we said that's not so simple. But if you're allowed to bring in the shore, you put. Here the Gemara says it could be that even though you're allowed to bring in the shore, you're going to be silent. Why? Because you're not allowed to bring in the Paris. The Nizik is allowed to bring in the Paris. He only has. I got it wrong. Only the Nizik. And both of them are allowed to bring in Shvarim. Both of them are allowed to bring in the shore.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right.
So it comes out that the master is allowed to bring his shore. I bring my shore, you bring your shore, and only you can bring in Paris. So the shore is chayiv. Why is the shore chayiv?
You know what? That you should be totally potter because I have a right to bring in my shirt.
Shore, like Rishus Rabbah. And that's
Even more than
what
Rishus Rabbah.
even
You
more.
were talking about Kera.
And the Karen, Rabbi Karen never lived Rishus Rabbah. Since both of us are allowed to bring our oxen.
That we understand.
Yes. And Yechayiv, like you're not, it's not going to be Rishus Anizik, it's Rishus Amazik. That's what the Gemara wanted. The Tarfon also would be over here. But the Gabi Shane, I have a right to bring my shore. You also can bring your shore, but only you have a right to bring your Paris, and my shore naturally ate up your Paris. And now I'm going to be Chayiv. Why is it Rishus Anizik? Because I can't bring in my apples. Who's talking about apples? I'm talking about my ox and your apples. And I'm allowed to be here, you're allowed to be here. It's since I don't have Rishus to bring in my ox. My Paris is called Sdei Acher.
How come Rishus Aram this? Because I have a right to bring my shirt. Yeah? So if you put Paris, then you own this.
So here also.
So here also I have it.
So my cloud before when I summarized it, I said too extreme. I said if you have Rishus to come in to show you Pata. Now it's not so simple. The Gemara says if you have Rishus to come in, but you don't have Rishus to bring your Paris, you're still going to be fine, which I don't understand. Maybe right tomorrow.
And we got to this because you don't want to say that it's a half an hour.
Yes, and also we didn't want to say that your butter that if it belongs to the Levi, that they're also going to be very simple. The Gemara says that can't be. And the bottom kasha is now this kasha I would have thought much more on the first terrace. The Gemara said Shmuel said that ratio of Taf Sefer Rabbanan. So surely only have 3 cases. You only have 3 cases and the Gemara is not bothered by that. Taisa says it's okay. That even though it's only 3 cases, but it's 4 opinions. I don't know what it is. It's
What case? Oh.
The first case was Rishus Anizik. The fourth case is Rishus Anizik. The first case was Reb Tarfon taught me say Chayiv everything, and the last case says in the same case I argue and say that you Chatzi Nezek. And the more is happy. That's called 4. I don't understand. But the more is asking, not asking. The more doesn't ask that. The more asks on Rabbi Ravina that said that it's a case of what? It's
Why did Shalisha have it's a new case that both allowed to bring in the shore and only one allowed to bring in the Paris.
It's cool. It didn't.
So I think it's a new case.
so why is it 3?
But in the shame, it's what's on is it?
So,
Right.
But as if to say that everything can
I
be
could've
already.
figured it out.
If you tell me the din of the Nizik, you tell me the din of Mazik, you tell me the din of both, you did that right? And now you tell me
a case which is half Nizik and half Rishus
I'll
Aram.
figure it out by myself. And we are asking that even after you tell her, I still can't figure it out. And the Gemara says that he shouldn't have said it, they would have figured it out by himself. You told me the 3 ingredients, I would have figured out the rest, I wouldn't have figured it out. And that's the Gemara's kasha. And the Gemara's answer is, Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, Shlosha Klalos ba'arba makomos. You're right that you could have figured everything out because you have the 3 klalim. That's not to figure everything out. But arba makom, I want to tell you that there are 4 kinds of places. One is nizdik, one is mazik, one is both. One is both for fun and one for nizdik. What? Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, okay. They would figure it out, but I don't understand. They even have to wait till. Okay, Adkan. So we're not doing a daf a day. Which one? How does really want?
Give me 1 day and send it in.
Because
No question.
either they learn beforehand or afterwards.
The Gemara itself goes very quickly. After the raid, he has